we're building a rear wire harness because this one doesn't work.
And we couldn't find anything on the internet. So if you found yourself in this position, make sure you watch to the end to see how everything comes together.
It's good. All right, Jake.
Let's get started.
We have our light fixtures, we got some hand tools, we got our 16 gauge wire, connectors, heat shrink, heat gun, and a notebook here so we can write out our diagram.
We had some working knowledge of how electricity works running through a vehicle, so that did help us a lot. If you have any questions, ask those in the comments below. Otherwise, we took out the old wire harness and started laying out our diagram so we could get started on the new one.
We finally have our final wire diagram here. We've got 4 splices. We've got our colors here of the original wiring harness, and we're changing the colors here. So now we're going to lay out our lights and start tackling one wire at a time. Let's get it. We have our lights all laid out down here, and we're going to do our yellow wire here first because there's no splices.
We are using waterproof crimp connectors. You can find a link to the products we used in the description below.
Yeller to yeller. See, these are already cut. Yellow wire done. Let's do the reverse light. Reverse lights are blue. We're doing blue. And there's 2 of them coming out there, so I can literally just connect the blue here all the way to the end there. I didn't see this, the stranded or the solid there, but now that I see that, I got to put this 16 gauge in this side right here instead of on that solid 16 on the other side. Bend it over like this. What do you mean put it in there?
The connectors are 16 gauge. Our wires coming off the lights are 14, so we bent them over and formed a J-hook to make sure they fit properly.
Oh, that felt so much better.
That's what she said. Michael.
Oh yeah, but that's our reverse light. Let's do the reverse light just because I still have that out here. And the reverse light goes in the middle. Long J-hook. Okay, on the original, that looks like that's long enough.
We are just laying these wires out very roughly. It's going to look messy, but it will come together, I promise.
We did reverse light, and then what's our other turn signal? Dark green. Passenger turn signal is next. Go from there down to here, over to there. I'm doing a great job, Jake. This one does need to be J-hooked. J-hook. Oh yeah, dude, that was solid, bro. Oh, I totally wire through here. Send it that way. We got reverse lights and turn signals done. So I'm going to do the browns to the current lights that we have, and then I'm going to do our running lights brown.
What I meant to say, I was going to run the hot lead to all the current lights we'd completed, and then run the hot lead to 2 running lights that I had not laid out yet that go on either side of the El Camino. Since there's a splice on either side of this wire harness, I'm doing the right side, then the left side, and what I can do is just run those wires back to the wire harness and roughly cut them at the length of where that splice is going to be, and do the splice a little bit later.
Yeah, so that splice is right here, right after the zip tie, so I can really just leave it short again. Go back to a splice right here, probably a little long, but I'd rather go long. Now we can start doing these, and we'll start over here just because we're over here.
These are those running lights that I hadn't laid out yet, and since we're doing the ground last, the red lead is the only wire connecting to these right now.
Okay, we got that one running light.
We're going to quickly review the old wire harness just to make sure we're not missing anything.
Turn signal done. Reverse light done. One running light done. And working on the other running light that goes to like the back light, the rear lights, and then that's a side running light that we've got to do as well. That we haven't done yet, that we're going to do next.
Hey, just a reminder, if you like this content that we're creating, we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us grow our channel. Thanks.
See how these are 90? And these are straight?
Here I'm reviewing my running lights. I needed to use 2 that I knew worked from the previous harness, and I needed to make sure I used the straight ones on the side running lights because those straight ones were the only one that fit on those side running lights.
Almost forgot to J-hook.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Just feels right. Okay, let's give it a little
If you've made it this far in the video, why don't you drop a yes or no in the comments below if you think it'll work or not.
Okay. Here we go. All right, running lights. All done on this side.
This is it. The right moment.
Making love to you was never second best. I saw the world crashing around your face.
Let's go do the running lights back on this side.
On this side, I start out with one of the straight light fixtures for the running lights for that side mount, which you will see for sure in the next video, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out. I am going to speed this up until we get to the splices.
We got all these browns going back to these splices right here. So now we just need to do the splices to get it into the harness connector. Short wire going that direction. The big ones. Got these wires off Amazon. You can click the link down in the description below. They're 16 gauge colored wires. We wanted to get colored, that way we can color code things. So if we have any troubles, it's a little bit easier to troubleshoot. That's plenty. Now let's get all of these cut to the right length. Cutting these probably right about here. There's 2 of them. Okay, so then these 2 will be on this side, and then these 2 need to be cut.
We are using a bigger connector here that will allow us to put 3 wires in one side, 2 on the other side. The side with 2 will need to have 1 wire that is J-hooked for the proper diameter to make sure everything fits nice and snug. And if you have any questions, I'm going to put Jake's Instagram handle out here because he is the one that's got the details down to a T. I was just doing what he told me to do. We did get this heat shrink for added strength near our joints. This heat shrink we got was too small, so I would suggest getting a variety pack so you know which size you need, and then going and getting the amount of length that you need. We went with an 8 foot, so we had 8 feet of the wrong size.
Ladies out.
And now I'm on the other side doing this connector, which is going to be 3 in one side and 3 on the other side.
Cut down a little bit on the wall. That side. And then this one, and this one. And we want to keep this one long. That's probably long enough right there. Long. And then this one coming from the other side. I need to just do 2, not. Alright, got it through. We'll see if we can make it work. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Crimp right on the edge there. So we have all of our hot leads done, and I want to explain how the ground works. The ground does not come from our wire harness. What the ground does is it takes all the power that's going to all of our lights and brings it back to the frame. We've got grounds coming from each one of our lights. They'll come back to a couple splices and then get attached to the frame. All right, let's get to these grounds. We're going to start over here and work our way across the wire harness, and we're going to take this and snip it halfway because we can use this to attach our ground back to the frame. Recycle, Jake. Reuse and recycle. Put this up here so we don't lose it. All right, let's see how fast I can do this, Jake. See if I'm any better at it.
Do we have 7 that go into the other
There
one?
might be 7. Do a splice in the middle that's the ground. Because we can't do 7.
We realized in our wiring diagram, one of the splices we had 3 going in one side, 4 going out the other side, and we didn't have a connector big enough to do that, so we just had to adapt and add another splice in there.
Do the splice right now. Gives plenty of length here to go to the other side. We will run it through here.
So on this splice, we'll have 3 going in one side, 3 coming out of the other
2
side.
short ones.
One of the wires goes to the other side of the wire harness. You'll do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll cut the wire that goes from either side in the middle into our final splice, which will be the connector to the frame.
Boom chakalaka.
What you're going to see next is on one side of the splice we could go directly into it. On the other side we had wires coming from that same direction, so we kept them long and looped them back.
Okay, so those will loop back here and come in this way, Jake.
Yep.
Is that good? That look good to you?
Pretty good.
Boom shakalaka. All of the ground's done on this side with the wire going to the other side. Now let's work on the furthest out and work our way in and then set up that last ground. That's 3.
3 short ones?
1, 2, 3. So now we need to do long ones. 2 long ones, and then the third long one will go to the middle. Okay, we have got all the grounds for these 5 lights. Now we are going to do 1/2 of the splice with 3 shorts.
So again, on this side, we got 3 wires on the outside going to the splice and 3 on the inside. 1 on the inside goes across to the other side of the wire harness.
All right, now these are going to come back and loop in this way. Boom shakalaka. Looks like we've got kind of the same thing going on here.
What's it say?
Well, it says, I love it when a plan comes together.
Time for that splice in the middle so we can attach our ground to the frame.
More room for the J-hook. Right here we're doing a splice, so we've got all of these spliced together here, ground coming here, all these spliced together here, coming in. So J-hook here coming from the right side, and then 2 wires coming here, and then splice the ground. Connect this to our ground. We got one last thing we got to do yet. We got to cut this off and splice the connector, and then we can test it. Let's get it. Bum, bum, bum. So we were just reviewing to make sure everything looked good, and we forgot that we had one brown wire here, which is our red hot lead. We're going to splice it in the middle here. Oh, right there.
Yes, Jake, right there, LOL. This red lead goes to the license plate light, if anybody was wondering.
There, that's good. 16. A little longer for the... Boom. All right, that's good now. Now we got to cut this off. But we want to cut all except for pink.
The pink wire is actually a gas gauge wire. Kind of interesting that that's part of the light wire harness. Now I'm adding connectors to the plug side so that when I go wire to wire, you can see the colors in the upper right corner. I'm ready to just connect them.
Getting down there. All right. Yellow to yellow. I'm going to cut them all right here. Ha! So funny, Jake. Now we're doing light greens, which go to blue. Yeah, light greens go to blue. And then brown goes to red. Dark green to green. Next, we're going to put all the lights in it, plug it in, and test it out. Gentle. Lay it down and across. Pink one goes right here. Oh, yeah, I think the flat was towards the front.
Again, we could not find a wire harness with this connector anywhere, and that's why we had to make this one from scratch.
Alright, now where's there a good spot to plug the ground? That should be decent. Alright, I got the ground connected here. Got the wire harness plugged up there. Pink wire here. And this power wire going right here. Got the lights laid out. Here we go.
Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
She works!
We are missing one reverse light and signal lights. Now when I'll go put reverse on. This is an original light from the original wire harness. Ooh, she does light up. Yeah. So we got a crappy bulb, but we do have power to it. Crappy bulb right here. Boom. Reverse lights are on. They work. We do need to get a couple reverse lights, otherwise everything works. All right, thanks you guys for watching this week's episode of the Roy Garage, where we took this old wire harness and built a new one. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on next week's episode. Gotta be gentle. You can find a link to all of our lights and our tools that we use in the description below. They are affiliate links, so if you do purchase something, we do get a slight commission. It's a great way to support the Roy Garage.